Hey, Matt Man's back. Today I want to go through some of these extra finds I found in the 10 boxes I did to fill my albums. I want to start with this 1960 Denver with a die chip perfectly filling the loop of the 9. I've never seen that before, and I think it's rather attractive. The coin has some red to it. In the same vein of attractive die chips, there's a teardrop dripping off of the end of the 9. I liked it. Here's the 64 Denver with a die chip along the rim under the 4. Some people might call this a cud, and I've done some research and find different nomenclatures. Some people say a cud is just a very large chip. Others insist that the cud has to touch or become part of the rim. What do you think? I'm going to call this a die chip. So this is the same kind of die chip between the L and the rim. It's a 1970D. Again, I would classify this one the same as I would classify the previous one. So let me know what you think I should call it. This is an 83, and if you look between the B and the E, it looks like, well, it's raised, so it had to be some sort of a chip. I thought that was bizarre enough, but then I also found this 2015 with like the identical kind of issue. Now that blob on the E, that's on top of the E from the coin perspective, so that means it had to have been gouged out of that. Unless I'm just totally off base. Again, and if you follow the curl up, it looks like it kind of ends in a tail on top of the B going over the top of the... So was there a piece of lint or something that got onto the die? So this one I have to show the whole coin. But it's, to me, it looks like some sort of crack lamination issue that goes all the way from trust down to the front of his face, down under his chin, onto his coat. So let's get a better look at that. At the U in trust, almost looks like a river delta. And then it goes down, and then there's bubbling. It comes down, there's another bubble there at the end of his nose with another break off to the right. Then it goes straight to his chin, right to his chest, under his tie there, and then bounces down and goes to his coat, and looks like it either ends at a bubble on the crease of his coat, or it might continue down a little further, but it does not go all the way to the rim. So I just thought that was, I've never seen anything like that before. Up there, if you look to the left of the U, that could be some lamination damage. This one I've highlighted before. What caused that bubbling there, the lower right part of the 8 and at the end of the 3? Looks just like it'd be an eye of a needle. I've seen it on a couple of others before, not to this extent though. So if anybody has any insight, please enlighten me. Here's another one along the same lines as the previous one, but it extends down to the mint mark, which kind of tells me it's a machine issue. Maybe. Next up are these 4 1969 Denvers. And of course I'm looking for the No FG. So this phone isn't going to do it justice. So here are extreme close-ups of the area in question. And of course when you blow it up like this, it starts to look like the surface of the moon. 4 examples of it. Try to give you a good look of each one. Sometimes I see things and sometimes I don't. Any comments would be appreciated. Next up is this 1961 Denver RPM. Now, it's definitely an RPM, but there are like 72 examples of this in Variety Vista, and I cannot identify it. So I'm just going to list it as an unknown number. Next up is this 1959 Denver that I think I see a DDO on. There it is, and where I see it is on the 9, especially that little kink there pointing at 10 o'clock. This is a little closer view of it. Again, when you get these close-ups like this, might as well be the surface of the moon. Here it is compared to Variety Vista. You see it does have that little kink, but not to the same extent. And the 9 seems to narrow out more at its base. Still looks pretty close though. Next up is this 1964 Denver. Let's try to get a better focus here. Anyway, we'll get it onto the scope. And what I see is that notch under the L. A little bit better view of it. And here it is next to Variety Vista. The 04 looks close, the 02 looks close, but neither of them are just right, so don't know. Thought it was worth checking though. Okay, now I have a 1970 Denver that has that slight notch over the 7. You can barely see it because the coin's not in very good shape. And here it is with the best match. Getting near the end here, folks. 2 more. This is a 76 Philly. And I see the air "In God We Trust." Now my biggest marker is how close the space is between the terminuses and the 2 edges of the G. The gap to the right on the G is a lot smaller than normal. Variety Vista has 2 varieties of this coin, and they both fit. When I look at the 01, the G looks right, the O looks right. And then when I look at the 02, the G looks right, the O looks right. So, and there aren't any markers for this coin. I'm going to mark this one on the flip as a DDO question mark. The last one I'm going to do is this 2004 Denver. It has a DDR. If you look there, it's on the floor on the bottom of the first 5 bays and on top the pedestal. Doesn't show up very good on this coin though. So here it is in Variety Vista, And I think that's a fairly good match. Doesn't seem to go all the way under the statue, but I'm going to keep it. That wraps up reviewing these coins I found in the first 10 boxes of my Hunt and Fill series that I did not include in the videos. So if you have any insight into any of these coins, I would love to hear from you. So until the next time, Matt Man's out. If you're getting any value at all out of this, please subscribe, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and hit that notification bell. Thank you very much.